सो हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल मुस्कान जिन चैनल। तो आज हम करने वाले हैं टॉपिक इथोनेशिया। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं इंट्रोडक्शन से। अगर आपको वीडियोस पसंद आ रही है तो प्लीज़ चैनल को लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए, थैंक यू। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं इंट्रो। इथोनेशिया इज़ अ डिबेटेबल इशू। इथोनेशिया इज़ नॉट जस्ट अ मेडिकल एथिकल प्रॉब्लम. It also has philosophical, legal, religious, and political dimensions. In most parts of the world, euthanasia is considered illegal. However, it is openly practiced in some areas. The physician performing this act will not be persecuted under certain circumstances. Although it is regarded as illegal under the law in that region, the country most well known for performing euthanasia is Netherlands. तो आगे हम करते हैं मीनिंग ऑफ एथोनेशिया। मीडियम वेबस्टर डिक्शनरी डिफाइंस एथोनेशिया एज द एक्ट और प्रैक्टिस ऑफ किलिंग और परमिटिंग द डेथ ऑफ hopelessly sick or injured individuals, such as persons or domestic animals, in a relatively painless way for reasons of mercy. Euthanasia comes from the Greek word eu, meaning good, and thantos, meaning death, which means the good death. Classically, euthanasia has defined as the hastening of death of a patient to prevent further sufferings. There are different forms of euthanasia, namely voluntary, involuntary, and non-voluntary euthanasia, and active and passive euthanasia. अब हम इसकी डिफ्रेंशिएट कर रहे हैं कि वॉलेंट्री इथोनेशिया क्या है। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं वॉलेंट्री इथोनेशिया से। वॉलेंट्री इथोनेशिया usually refers to euthanasia with the patient's consent. The patient has expressed a wish to die and someone performs the act of euthanasia to let him die. तो इस प्रोसेस में हम क्या करते हैं कि पेशेंट की इच्छा जानते हैं। अगर वो मरना चाहता है तो उसकी इच्छा के द्वारा उसको इथोनेशिया दिया जाता है। इनवॉलंटरी euthanasia does not involve the patient consent. The patient is competent to express his will and is able to make a decision, but has not been consulted, and his life is ended by an act of euthanasia. इनवॉलेंट्री euthanasia में पेशेंट की कंसेंट नहीं ली जाती, फैमिली मेम्बर की कंसेंट ली जाती है। लेकिन इस कंडीशन में जो पेशेंट है वो एबल है अपनी देने के लिए डिसीजन, लेकिन उसके डिसीजन नहीं लिया जाता। फैमिली के डिसीजन से उसको euthanasia दिया जाता है। Non-voluntary euthanasia means that the euthanasia is performed when a patient is not competent to make a decision. For example, when the patient is in coma, mentally insufficient, or is not able to express a wish, such as a newborn baby with severe congenital abnormalities. Non-voluntary euthanasia उन लोगों को होता है जिनके जो पेशेंट या फिर कोमा में है या फिर न्यूबॉर्न बेबी है जो अपनी डिसीजन नहीं ले सकते, तो उनका डिसीजन उनकी फैमिली मेम्बर्स उनके लोग लेते हैं और उस कंडीशन में उनको euthanasia दिया जाता है ताकि उनको पेन से राहत मिल सके। तो आगे हम करते हैं। देयर आर टू टाइप ऑफ euthanasia टू परफॉर्म। हम किस तरह से उनको euthanasia देते हैं। एक्टिव euthanasia refers to euthanasia as a result of someone performing act such as injection of lethal drug. Lethal drug देकर हम उनको euthanasia देते हैं। It is legal in Belgium, Holland and Luxembourg. Massive euthanasia means euthanasia resulting from the omission of an act. It is legal in Switzerland, Germany, Mexico. Conventionally, active euthanasia was different from passive euthanasia in that later most to withhold or withdraw treatment, while the former was active killing. However, a famous philosopher, James Archer, argued that active euthanasia is not in any worse than passive euthanasia. His argument is that since the outcome is the same and both act leads to patient's death, there is no difference between active and passive euthanasia in terms of the moral aspect. Following this decision, euthanasia is defined as directive, intentional killing of a person as part of the medical care being offered. Ethical problems of euthanasia. Does an individual who has no hope of recovery has the right to decide how and when to end his life? Those in favor of euthanasia argue that a civilized society should allow people to die in dignity and without pain, should allow others to help them to do so if they cannot manage it on their own. They say that our bodies are our own and we should be allowed to do what we want with him. So it's wrong to make anyone live longer than they want. In fact, making people go on living when they don't want to violate their personal freedom and human rights. It's immoral to force people to continue living in suffering and pain. They add that a suicide is not a crime. Euthanasia should not be a crime. The ancient Greeks and Romans tends to support euthanasia. However, religious opponents of euthanasia believe that life is a trust from God and only God should decide when to end it. Aquinas condemned suicide as wrong because it controverses one's duty to oneself and the natural inclination of self-reputation, because it injures other people and the community of which the individual is a part, and because it violates God's authority over life, which is God's gift. Other opponents fear that if euthanasia was made legal, the laws regulating it would be abused and people would be killed who did not really want to die. However, there were arguments both for the against practice of euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide. Some may agree with euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide for the terminally ill patient for the following reasons. It can relieve unbearable suffering of the patient. It can relieve burden from the relatives. The patient has a right to die. The patient can die with dignity. History has shown that once society provides approved guidelines within which it was acceptable to kill another person, it is only a matter of time for those guidelines to be changed and the range of victims extended. Therefore, opponents of euthanasia say that euthanasia enhances the power and control of doctors and not patients. They believe that people in comas, a persistent vegetative stage, with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's patients, person with mental illness, the mentally retarded, and are likely to be at some risk if euthanasia is legalized. However, bioethics believe that such people do not qualify as persons and should be eliminated for the greater good. There is such controversy over whether euthanasia and assisted suicide should be permissible for those suffering from depression, chronic illness, and other conditions that are life threatening. Where IAS is legal, the issue for medical professions is whether depressed moods should be treated or should they simply grant the request for euthanasia. However, when dying people were cared for at home, adults and children alike knew what was going on, and the dying person was the center of attention. Since the 18th century, the dying began to be hidden away in hospitals, and the dying person lost control of the process. While doctors battled to cheat death with medicine and technology, hospice, home care are working towards those dying being permitted to have a natural death once again. They are showing that dying from old age or illness is simply a final stage of living. So, अब हम conclusion करते हैं. It is very important to explore the underlying reasons for a patient to request euthanasia and to provide all legal means of support to relieve pain and suffering. The family members and other community resources should be involved early in the management of patients who are terminally ill, so that death seems to be ultimate end of life and its fear vanishes. सो ये टॉपिक था euthanasia. अगर आपको वीडियो पसंद आई है, अगर आपको इससे कोई हेल्प हो पाई है, तो आप प्लीज़ चैनल को लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए. थैंक यू.